Good evening, everyone. I am Faith Booker, and here is my presentation on literacy strategies that will be beneficial for students. Let's get started. All right, literacy strategies presented by Faith Booker. All right, so let's get into literacy. Before we even dive into the strategies, we'll do a refresher of content literacy and disciplinary literacy. So content literacy involves students learning the reading and writing processes that are common across all disciplines. And in contrary, disciplinary literacy involves students using reading, writing, listening, and speaking to actively engage within a specific subject. So you strategy the actions actually. The first one is a read aloud activity. So as students read discipline specific material, their fluency is improving. I believe that as students hear their own voices, it helps them with processing content. It also promotes a focus when you're reading out loud, and they're focused on the content they're reading, they're beginning to understand the information that they're intaking. This activity is also proven to cause students to be actively engaged and also interested in reading after engaging in read aloud activities. The next strategy I would do for reading would be a literature circle. Again, students are more likely to engage when they're in group settings, when they're amongst their peers. Students are actively listening, analyzing, decoding, discussing misconceptions that they've read, and they're also gaining a deeper understanding of the plot, the theme, the author's purpose, and the time period. The next would be vocabulary. And my two strategies regarding student vocabulary would be listening to audios or watching a content based video. As they're listening to the audio, they're being exposed to academic vocabulary, and the vocabulary is being repeated throughout the video. This repetition helps students with recalling vocabularies, as audios often define or explain terms. The next one would be project very popular, and this strategy reinforces academic vocabulary as well. As students are partaking in research, they're coming across and being exposed to different vocab words. They're applying the newfound academic vocabulary. They're applying this vocabulary during their presentations, as they're creating posters, as they're debating, as they're writing scripts. This academic vocabulary can be words like revolution, rights, artifacts, hierarchy, primary sources, secondary sources, in regards to history. The next one would be writing. So I have two writing strategies here as well. And the first one would be skeletons activity. This is a very, very important writing support tool for students. Students are given a skeleton of a paragraph, and they are filling in missing pieces of the skeleton with their own content. So they're essentially adding meat to the skeleton. Now, this helps students learn how to write clearly and organize their thoughts logically. And now the next strategy is one of my favorites. I think it's very effective, and it really puts this pressure on students to get their work done. And it also requires students to write regularly. So, as they're writing regularly, their writing is improving. They're building the habit of communicating their ideas effectively through writing. It's also a good writing tool for students to review what they've learned throughout the week. It's a good writing tool for students to provide me with feedback and for them to ask any questions. The next one would be graphic organizers. Now, this is a good tool for differentiated instruction. This is a powerful strategy that supports student comprehension, and it promotes independent learning. Now, you may have students who may have a difficult time reading concepts, reading text, but they may be really good with breaking down graphic organizers. They may be really good with reading maps, reading graphs, working on Venn diagrams and sequence charts. It helps students break down difficult concepts, and it supports our visual learners. Next strategy I have is listening and speaking. Speaking and listening helps students make sense of historical concepts such as the Reconstruction period, the Roaring Twenties, learning about segregation in the South. My two activities would be, the first one would be think, pair, share. This is a great strategy for students to critically think about a posing question. Once they've thought about the question, they then turn to a partner and discuss their response with their partners. What's being activated during this time is their speaking and listening skills, as they're speaking their ideas, their opinions, and then they have to actively listen to their partner's ideas and contributions. The next one would be Socratic seminars. This is a very, very effective strategy that puts the weight of responsibility on students. And I, as a teacher, I would just play the role of a facilitator. But during a Socratic seminar, the full weight of responsibility is on my students as they are leading and participating in discussion using cited evidence such as primary and secondary sources. This promotes the use of textual evidence in speaking and listening and critical thinking. And here are my sources pages. Thank you for tuning in.